Hello everyone. Welcome to the Clarity 16.0.3 Supportability and Feature Training. My name is Bill Yee, and today we're going to cover the general application improvements that we did as part of 16.0.3. So one of the enhancements we did is that we added the ability to configure to show the range descriptions that are defined as part of display mappings within Studio. And now you can see those range descriptions within the grid, the flyout, timeline, canvas, and the properties functionality. We also added the ability to do grid column wrapping. We added a toggle as part of the view options, and you can toggle it on and off at a per grid level. We also added the capability of doing column filterings. So within the column header, you're able to set the filter for a particular attribute. And last but not least, we added the ability to define minimum and maximum aggregation support within widgets. So customers have requested the enhancements for range descriptions and word wrapping as part of our customer innovation program. And because this capability resided in Classic, and now we have added as part of the modern UX. And as we continue to improve our generic component capabilities, we added to the ability of adding the min and max aggregation support and the column filtering, which will help with the usability with using our common components that you have defined as part of the modern UX. So with the attribute range descriptions that are defined as part of the display mappings within Studio, you're able to define them within the grid, flyout, timeline, canvas, and the properties. You can actually display just the range description and also the range description and value, because previously you'll only be able to define just the value. And also note, if you have the range description as part of the grid, it would also be preserved and exported as part of when you export to CSV or when you print it to PDF. And the support also, as mentioned, it's part of the canvas. So we've enhanced the canvas as part of the status report and also within the pages that you can either choose either value, range description, or both range description and value. And in order to set the range descriptions within the grid, you go to the attributes grid under administration, and we added a new field called display type. So you can then select the object and the attribute and just choose and select either value, which is the default now on upgrade. You can either then show range description or range description in value. And with the column word wrapping, we've added an option under view options called wrap text. And so you're able to wrap at a per grid level all the fields within the grid. So it will allow word wrapping based on the width of the attribute in the grid. And it works against all data types. So if even if you compress the grid width and it exceeds those boundaries, it will actually wrap. The text wrapping is also supported within the status report and the page canvases, and they'll be enabled by default. And if you export, that status report or page, that word wrapping will also be preserved within the PDF export. Column filtering, this is where you can actually define the filter within the column. So it's one less step. When you're working within the grid, you can actually go to the column header and select that filtering. And once you select it in the column header, it would actually automatically populate that in the filter bar. So they keep it in sync. So when you set a filter in the filter bar, it also sets and adds an icon that is a filter has been defined for that particular column. In addition, we've increased the number of filter parameters from 10 to 20. So it allows you to add as much more filters within the grid that we did than previously before. Also, we've added the ability to add min and max aggregation support. So this is available on the number tile and bar widgets. And currently, I think we've only enabled only sum and average. So now we're able to set max and minimum as part of that aggregation support within widgets. So let's see these general application improvements in action. So the first item I'm going to demonstrate is the range description display mapping enhancement. So I'm on the idea grid, and if you look at the architectural fit, priority, and business alignment, it's displaying both the range description and the value for these fields, and this can be configured in the attributes grid under administration. Before we go there, we've also enhanced the flyout to show both the range description and the value. And if you drill down into the properties module, we also show the range description and the value on the properties module. So as I mentioned, you can configure this to show only the value, only the range description as well. So say, for example, for priority and business alignment, I just want to show just the range description and not the value, the number value here. So in order to configure this and any attributes that have display mapping configured in Studio, you go to the attribute grids under administration. So if you go to the attributes grid, I'm kind of filtered on all these, the ones I showed on the idea grid showing range description and value. And for we added a new field called display type, and this is where you can enable and change the what you display as part of the range description or the value. And the options you have is, as I mentioned, the value. You can show the value only and only range description. So for this one, I'm just going to change it to only display range description. And if I go back to the idea grid, now note the labels here for this field is cache per session. So you would either need to log off and log in, or just do a browser refresh. And then you'll see that the priority and business alignment field are only showing the range description. Now, another benefit of this feature is that when you do an export to CSV, it doesn't export the colors as part of it. And it still won't do it for this feature, but you can. What customers have done for the range description, they put the color as part of the range description. So if you look at architectural fit, green, yellow, and red is part of the range description. And the benefit of that, when I actually export to CSV and open up this CSV, it brings over that range description as text. So as you're looking at it, you can know the color status within your CSV. Now, the next item I want to cover is the grid word wrapping. So I'm going to go to the projects grid. And currently now, when the text actually gets to the boundary of the column, we show this ... at the end of the string. But now we're able to enable word wrapping, and the option is under view option, and it's called word will wrap text. And once I enable that, you'll see that the text will wrap based on the boundary, the width of the column. And this is available for all the data types that you choose for attributes within the grid. So, for example, project name. If I shrink the column, you see it wraps for that particular field. And it does it for lookups like this work status here. It does it for other items as well, say date. It'll wrap it. We've also enabled it for TSV. So if you come in here, I have a save view that actually I have TSV configured. And if I come by here, I look at the totals. I have some long text at the bottom here. It will wrap those fields as well. Another area we've enhanced are the table widgets as part of the canvas. So say, for example, if I go to the pages, well, I have some table widgets configured under my personal page. If you look at the issues, risk, and the upcoming task table widget, we have enabled column wrapping by default. As you can see, it wraps for these table widgets. The next item I want to cover is the column filtering. So let's go change and back to the word wrapping area, and let me expose the filter. So I have two filters already showed. So what we've done as part of this release is that if you go to the column header, you can actually go ahead and then there's a filter icon where you can go ahead and filter while you're in the grid. So you don't have to go up to the filter bar to do all your filtering. And here, since the column is already selected, all I need to do is just select the values that I want to filter on. So let's do requested and active. And when I do that, it actually puts an icon here to let you know that the column is this particular column is filtered, but also too, it adds that filter parameter to the filter bar. So, and the system keeps it in sync. So if I come by here and add another option here called completed, and come down to the filter column, you've added it here as well. And if I remove the filter parameter from the filter bar, it updates the column as well, and it removes that icon as within the column filter. Now the system keeps it in sync between both, and these are actually saved as part of the save views. So you can have many different filters based on your that you have within your save view. We've also enhanced the number of parameters that you can have as part of filters. The max was 10. Now we increased that to 20 as part of this release. And last but not least, I want to cover the min and max widget aggregation. So let me go to the save view for min and max widgets. So we've added a new aggregation type for min and max for both the bar widget and also to the number tile. Now, this is an example here for the top spend by sponsor, but I may want to track the spending based on the sponsors I have that I'm tracking within my project list. This is a bar widget that I have with projects, based on lowest ETCs. These are some projects that are winding down that I want to monitor to make sure they're progressing correctly and making sure the ETCs get down to 0, since I want to free up any remaining ETCs as I close out these projects. And there's some areas around risk score here where I'm monitoring this, making sure this is a high visibility project. I want to make sure there are no risks related to them. Now, in order to configure the Maxim min aggregation type, let's go into this particular bar widget here. We've added the option for the type for Maxim min widget. So if you come in here, you'll see maximum, minimum. You just select that as an aggregation type. So what it'll do for this one, it'll take the maximum based on maximum value based on the result set that you get back within the grid. And one thing to note is that the format will always be numbers. So it will always set that to number and you're not able to change that as part of the widget definition for Maxim min widgets. And this concludes the general application improvements for 16.0.3. Thank you.